Oh, yeah. Hey, what?
Hey, man.
What's going on?
It's Pedal Pushers. Episode, I don't know, because we've done this.
I think it's episode 25.
I think now it is.
Yeah.
We're episode 14.
We're working some stuff out. We did another episode.
We did a really good one.
The mics were a little crusty. Crusty LaRue on the mic.
Because all this new technology.
Wow.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It's a lot of stuff. You got a lot of knobs, a lot of switches.
apps.
There's a lot of things lighting up over here. I don't know.
Lines
I don't know
moving.
anything's going on over here. Not my department, but a lot of things can go wrong.
Yes. A whole lot of things can go wrong.
And the video looked good, and it sounded a little crusty.
Yeah, it sounded, the
little
mics
hot.
were just hot. They were
Looked
hot.
like I had it sounded like I had the mic in my mouth the whole time.
Was that not normally where you keep it?
It's, it gets pretty close. I am starving. So
Well,
yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing terrific. It was a little of an emotional morning for me because I sent my Alex, my 5-month-old, 5 months today, to daycare this morning.
Man.
And me and the wife were doing really well. And then June, who's almost 3, started crying. Like for
real cry.
Real cry. Like not like, like loud kind of showy tears, like silent trying to like hold back tears.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I normally drop them off, and mom was there, and baby's there, and it's a momentous occasion. And I'm like, she's gonna remember this.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a moment I remember when my sister was born. I was the same age as her. I'm like, she's gonna remember this. This is like we created a core memory this morning. So I'm trying not to sob uncontrollably right now on the show, which
Some people pay good money for that.
yeah, to watch grown men sob uncontrollably
That
about their
has
children.
to be a thing. I was just joking, but when you break that down, you're like, yeah, there's got to be some channel
If you
somewhere,
can think of it, it exists somewhere on the internet.
and it's somebody's
Favorite.
thing.
It's someone's favorite thing.
They like to watch.
But,
that.
if you want to support my children, buy more pedals.
Pedal pushers.
Yeah, we got to
Now
sell
we're
some
pushing.
pedals. Now we got to push pedals. What about you, Zach? How are you doing?
I'm fine. We got. We're not gonna say the name.
Whoa. Okay. Did you just really, really want to redo this just because you didn't want to edit out the fact that I said the name?
No, I marked it.
Okay.
But we got the chorus over the finish line.
Ooh.
Parts are rolling in. The only bad thing is one of the chips that goes on the circuit board wasn't in stock from our PCB manufacturer. So I had the brilliant idea. We'll get them, and then I'll do it. And that was a mistake.
That you told me whenever you think of something brilliant like that again to tell you no.
Yeah, you gotta like hit me in the head. But it's for those that don't know.
Break it down for everybody.
It's a surface mount part. So it's a tiny little chip. It's about the size of maybe half the length of a Tic Tac. I think that's a good.
It's the size of most
frame.
of the crumbs that are in my beard at any time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's about the size of your average dipping dot.
That's the ice cream of the future.
A dipping dot. Mother, can I get some dipping dots at the zoo, please? But anyway, and they have these teeny tiny little legs, and so I'm trying to solder them, and I've done it many times, and I'm comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
But when you have to do it hundreds and hundreds of times, you go, why in God's name did I say I'd do this? But
I will try to remind you of that next time you have an idea like this.
I'm always like that.
But it's hard.
It'll
If you're
be faster.
If
and
you're
it'll save us
excited
money.
about it, it's hard for me to say like, "Are you sure about that?
Are you sure
about that?" But I will do my best next time to talk you out of all of your dumb decisions.
So all the people that are getting this first round of courses know that
Extra special.
my hands. If you open it up and you see something that's got like a little slime and stuff around it, that's just the flux that I put on there to solder these chips on by hand.
Look at you.
And to all the naysayers that say you can't do surface mount work very easily, that just means you just haven't tried yet. You just have to have the right tools and talent.
There you go, man. You have the tool and you have the talent.
Tool?
You heard it here first, folks.
Well, hey.
All right.
Anyway, so what kind of episode do we got today?
Well, we're going to do a Q&A. We asked for questions last week. We did the show, so we have to remember. I'm actually going to answer. I'm going to pull a George Costanza and answer everything the exact opposite of the way I did last episode.
Sure.
And see how that goes.
Okay. So
Let me get started here. Let
kick
me
us
ask you a
off.
question. I like this one a lot. I think it's pretty good. All right. You can magically put a Mythos pedal into the rig of anyone. Who and which pedal?
Okay. See, I feel I feel weird answering the question the same way as I did before, but
okay.
I think this holds true.
Did it change? You could change in a week.
Yeah, I guess
the music industry moves fast, dog.
No,
you have a different answer?
No, I don't. It's John Mayer.
It's John Mayer.
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's just for the
cash money.
The cash that would put in.
Yes,
put
I
in
mean
our pockets.
we are running a business here, and Johnny Boy is going to move the most pedals out of anybody in our industry right now. I think we can all agree on that, right? Can we all agree? Do we have comments underneath? You think someone else could push pedals better than Johnny Mayer right now?
Yeah, I don't know of anyone else in the world who, if a pedal showed up on their board, would be as influential as him. Yeah, I mean, yeah, put a comment if there's someone you can.
I would love to hear it. I'd love to hear it and have their contact information. That would be great.
Put their phone number, email.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, who else in the?
That is a really good question. We could do a whole show on this. Yeah. I mean, who else is known for is a big artist that is known for people being excited about the gear that they use and is embraced pedals the way that John has?
I mean, maybe. Well, I want to say John Frusciante, but he's not. Wait, is he back in Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Oh yeah, he got back.
Okay.
Yeah, he just did. They've done a big tour the last year.
People tend to flip
John
for
Frusciante,
his pedal board. Who else? I mean, people love Jay Mascis. He's got to be a big pedal pusher.
He would be. I know Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age. Whenever he's got stuff going on, people are always trying to figure out what he's doing. But not on. I mean, John Mayer's just on a different level.
Yeah, there's
Jason Isbell when he's got stuff going on. That's a big deal.
He didn't want nothing new now. He's got all that old expensive shit.
He got some cash, bro.
He got some money.
He got some cash.
I don't know what happened, but after he got that burst,
He got some cash. I mean, they're doing good. They tour like madmen. They tour like madmen. They're doing great.
I'm happy for him. He is a genuine artist and a hardworking guy. So,
but that is a great. I love I want all the comments to be. Somebody help us out here. What is going on there?
Nothing. I'm going to mute my phone.
You're fine.
Don't you worry about it. Focus. Do not disturb.
Oh. But yes, we solicit the comments. Who could push pedals better than Johnny Boy? But
nobody.
Okay, so that's a great answer for the wallet. And also, John says, I would be fun to work with John. What pedal would you give him? We didn't answer that part.
Oh, we'd totally give him a Mjolnir.
Mjolnir, yeah.
We'd have to have.
Like if we're going full fantasy, I want the Klon off the board.
That's right.
Because he's like, I don't need this thing anymore because I've got the Mjolnir.
Look at this.
I mean, that is ultimately what we would want, right? I mean, that is like, that's super. I hit my head and I'm in fantasy land.
That's
over
right.
Here.
You were hanging a clock, standing on your toilet, and you fell, and then you thought of the flux capacitor. And
Ronald Reagan, the actor?
The actor?
All right. We can do that whole thing all day.
Okay. But
yeah, same answer here. But let's pick one that is more as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like John is an acceptable answer, obviously.
Yeah.
In that space as well. But who would you pick as far as just Zach the fan?
Well,
and that you would want to help their tone out. Not that they're back.
Look, you need this.
You need this, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, last week. The last time we tried this, I gave one answer. I'm going to give a different one. I think David Gilmour.
Oh, you want to hook David up?
Because, I don't know. I mean, people still obviously are so infatuated with David. See, there it is.
David's. He's on the sauce. He's on the sauce. He's taking a little nips every time he takes a whiz. He's got a fifth of something in the toilet tank. Yeah.
Keeps it cool. But people are always going to be obsessed with David's tone. But I think that it definitely a big influence on me so far as my own pedal journey and sonic creations and stuff. What about you?
It would be Josh Homme.
Oh,
I'd probably get him an Argo. Something he uses a lot of octave up stuff. He's got an ultimate octave. He's got a lot of stuff like that. So I would definitely want to build him something like that. To get it on the board because that's a huge part of their sound. Whether it's full solos that are octave up or just a little bit of modulation, just to give the riffs just a little bit of an off kind of weird feel, which I think is cool. So I'd love to get him something like that.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
It would be sweet. Yeah, I mean it would be great. So cool. All right, great question.
What's next?
Love that one. Okay, here's another good one. Have you ever fallen out of love with one of your products because of how hard the development process was?
Yeah.
Now, we just got to the end of the line with the chorus.
Yes.
So we could talk a little bit about that. But
is
there any part of the process where you're just like, I'm just sick of this shit and I'm tired of it. Like, how does that work for you?
Yeah.
While you're working on a pedal.
I mean, I think that there have been many times where I've struggled working on the circuit, and it just frustrates me to no end when things aren't right. Mm-hmm. And by the time it finally gets right, there's usually just some compromise to where, and most people would never know, like, oh, Zach is still really frustrated at this thing.
Yes.
But usually that will make me fall out of love with something if it's that hard. The perfect example is the original Oracle.
Okay.
That you heard. It was digital, and it just had it had this sound that was like, it followed along with the delay time, mm-hmm. and it would go like,
oh no.
And depending on how fast the delay time was set, it would follow that. And you could barely hear it.
Yeah.
Barely. But I would test it with my deluxe reverb mm-hmm. and a Voodoo Lab pedal power and normal stuff, and you could hear it. And I thought, if it works, if it's audible in this, mm-hmm. somebody who's plugging it into God knows what is going to hear it going, and it's going to make them crazy, and then I'm going to feel like a jerk. And I couldn't do it. And so it made me eventually give up on it. But a pedal that I actually fell out of love with during the process, and not because I thought it was bad or anything, but it was kind of the Lark, because it was so hard. Mm. I don't know why, but slamming that tremolo circuit and the drive circuit mm-hmm. together just was a nightmare. And I went through so many revisions to mm-hmm. get it what I thought was right. Rhett was happy way before I was.
Yeah.
But it would sound great, and then when you let go of the guitar, it would just, and I can't have that. Matthew knows my fear of noise.
Chasing the dragon is what I call it.
Yeah.
Where you're just trying your best to like just perfect it, and then just no matter how close it is, it's like, can I get it a little closer?
Yeah. And these are things mm-hmm. that if a product's good and I'm really happy with the sound, I will continue to tweak. Because if something is hissing, like the Chupacabra is a perfect example. Yeah. It hisses.
Yeah, man.
And I've gone through many revisions just trying to dial out some of that hiss mm-hmm. over the years without making, it's not a new version. Yeah. It's not a new this or that or whatever. It's just,
you're just trying to refine it,
Yeah, because it needs to be what it needs to live up to my expectations.
Yeah.
But I think the Lark was just a gigantic pain to make. Yeah. And by the time it was all done, I was happy with the look. I thought it looked great, and it did sound cool. Yeah. But damn, I was just so burnt out on it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that makes a lot of sense. Because obviously when you're, for all of us, and I see a little bit of the process, but a lot of times I'm not hearing anything until you're ready to show it to me. But like for everybody, it's like it's a first impression thing, and it's like it's fresh. But for you, like no matter how good it is, by the end, you're just like, I want to move on to the next thing. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of looking at this thing. And
it's funny because some things you stay excited throughout the whole process. I think the mm-hmm. Hephaestus was one of those that no matter what
was happening
at what point of even when I messed up and ordered the wrong PCBs. Yeah. When they were too wide, and that's why we made the Rhett Shull edition. The whole time, as soon as I plugged one in, I was like, this is so much fun. Yeah. I'm willing to suffer because I love the way this thing sounds.
Hey, there you go.
There's pushing some pedals for you. Yeah. Did that ever happen at Novo for you? Or are you not willing to say, are you going to can't diverge that
No, I think that like the interesting part about
divulge, not diverge.
Divergent. The interesting thing about a guitar, the process for the guitar is that like getting a prototype made takes so long.
Yeah.
And that, when we finally would be working on something and I'd see the design and Dennis would draw something up and I'd be like, oh, you get all grunty and it's mm-hmm. exciting. And then I think for me, it was probably like, pretty exciting the entire time because you know, getting to see like something that you've only seen in 2D, and you're like, oh, this is like a really cool idea, and then we can kind of go like, well, what about this and what about that? Like, can we tweak this? What about this? And then you finally kind of see it done and in the flesh. I think it's pretty exciting. I'd probably say out of all of the guitars, and you know, it didn't even come out until after I was gone, was the Idris.
Yeah,
because that one was a really interesting case where there was like very early on. I mean, I think it was probably November, December, January of like 2020, 2021, where that had come together as far as the concept of it.
Right.
And then obviously it didn't come out for almost a year and a half afterwards. And there was like a couple prototypes and a lot of trying to figure out exactly what it is. And I think maybe by the end, it was like, I'm just glad that it's finally out.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it turned out awesome. I mean, you know, I absolutely adore that guitar, and we use the man-made trem on that thing, and that got me to buy a PRS with that trem because I liked it so much. So I'm really happy with that, and I think that people that are looking at Strat style guitars should definitely check one out because I think it sounds terrific, and the bridge is really cool on that style guitar because I never really bonded with like the vintage tremolos. Yeah, but it took a while. Like that was definitely it was such a long process that it's like you definitely have those moments where you're just like, and then it came out, and then like RJ got one, and Corey Congilio got one, and they were really excited about it. And I know Fred's getting one, our buddy Fred, and now it's like starting to get a little bit of that, like, oh yeah, like I'm starting to like it again for that reason. So I
think a lot of people tend to overlook the value in changing the trem on a Strat.
Yeah,
because admittedly, that is a huge part of the sound. The block and the saddles and everything, like on that one over there. It's part of why it sounds the way it does. But I mean, from a like use standpoint, kind of sucks.
The Strat trem?
Yeah.
In what way?
Just like using it, it's not as fluid. It's cumbersome. Like it doesn't feel.
How's it survived this long then?
Tradition.
You think so?
Oh yeah. I mean, like it's the same reason why I look at a Les Paul that doesn't have an ABR, or that has a Nashville and not an ABR, and go, oh, that looks so wrong. But while I do think there's sonic differences, the Nashville style trim makes more sense because you have more traversal for intonation.
Yes.
But I hate the way it looks, and I think it's the same thing with people like that. But the man-made trim, the PRS trim, which is not man-made anymore,
but that was how it started.
Initial ones, is just such a. I don't know why it's so much better, but
was like it was a real condition, I think, for us making that guitar. I say us, I'll say us forever. Yeah. I was with Novo too long. To make it stand out and make it different is to have something like that felt really good and felt really modern, and it was kind of the linchpin of the entire thing. And I think out of all the revisions and all the different things that we did, that was what stayed the entire time. And so I think it turned out great. But there was points in there where I was like not excited about looking at that guitar. I had like the prototypes hanging in my office, and I'm just like,
they were different. They're very different.
They're very different. If those ever come to light, it'd be kind of neat.
They probably will at some point.
Yeah. Go buy an Idris. All right. What else we got here? Ooh, how about a question for me? Can I ask myself a question, or do you want to ask me a question?
You point to it. Which one is it?
Let's do this one. Yeah.
Matthew, who is Dad? Sounds like a big influence on your life.
I talk about my dad a lot.
You do. It's like you like him or something.
I see these.
That's a weird thought.
Yeah. Shout out to Pops.
No,
so my dad,
I love my dad.
is shout out to Papa Broyles. My dad is Greg Timmons. A lot of people watching this might know who he is. He's a longtime industry vet. Was artist relations director over at Ernie Ball Music Man for a long time, back in the Van Halen era, which is really cool that he was there. And so obviously a huge influence on my life because he's an amazing guitar player, been gigging since 1974, twice a week, that kind of thing. Worked for a lot of great companies, worked for Ernie Ball, like I said, worked for Mesa Boogie, worked for Warmoth, Lawler Pickups. Last job was over at Zamitis Guitars. Wealth of knowledge for the industry itself and just guitar playing live. So I think he kind of just knows everything. Like he's done it all.
Yeah.
Because he's been gigging for 50 years almost. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
And then he's worked in the industry this whole time. So, obviously everything I know about all this stuff comes through from Pops. And he's just a super great guy.
Yeah.
Like we're almost exactly the same person.
You're very similar.
We're very, very similar. And so
he always brings us chicken wings.
he eats like shit, which is great. So it's cookies and chips and chicken wings is awesome. I love it. It's an excuse to
Chicken wings aren't that bad.
No,
I mean,
it's
like
fine.
in the grand scheme of
And
things.
he was out, he finally moved to Nashville because grandkids, you have two kiddos. And so he's out here now. So we're, hanging out all the time, and he's coming by the shop, and it's free GM. Right. He'll give you all the advice that you need. I love my dad because all of his advice is that everyone gigs like twice a week.
Oh, right.
Right. Which I think is great. It's very optimistic. So every gear choice you make is like, well, when you're playing live, and it's like, well, I don't have any. Well, you will. You will have gigs. And I think that's great. I love the optimism. I wish that I had that many gigs, but everything is geared towards like that you're going to be jamming. You're going to be playing live, which I like. That's the old school way of thinking, and that's how he thinks. And I think it's fun to like get all the gear recommendations based on like that premise,
right?
Which is my dad.
I buy gear, that would be perfect for that, and yet
we're going to get you back out there.
Yeah, we've talked about it. Should we talk about that? Like
we should.
Maybe next episode.
I think that you should just float the pitch that we've got for you.
Well, yeah,
and then
so
get you out there.
The idea was at the Underdog,
our fabulous East Nashville guitar venue.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The bathrooms are like up some steps.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I don't know why, but it makes me nervous. It feels like one of those things like you're going to go up there and then you're going to get done doing whatever you have to do, and then you're going to walk out and you're going to forget, and then you're just going to fade just right on the floor.
Well, and you might have a few. You're at a bar.
Right. Maybe.
You have a couple
I wonder how
pops.
often that happens.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I think if it's a good show, it gets crowded in there, and then right when you open the door, you've got like
You're just crowd surfing.
your unit is right in your people's heads.
Yeah. Hey, just eye level with it.
Just bam, right there.
Anyway,
So stupid.
I want to have a like a Mythos night. And just play a bunch of like ZZ Top covers.
Yeah, what did we name the band? What was it going to be called?
Either TT Zop.
TT Zop is great. Also, my favorite Star Wars character.
Yeah, TT Zop. He was part of Max Rebo's band. I don't know if anyone knows that.
Yeah, drug scandal took them down.
Right,
it's real sad.
After the spice hit them, they were never the same.
All that too much blue milk.
But yeah.
I mean, if we did that, I gotta put something together.
Yeah.
Get 5 songs. We get Pops out there.
Yeah, we'd have to have a rotating.
It would be fun, a Mythos night.
Crowd. But I definitely want to do stuff like that. I think the Novo guitar hang
was really fun.
It was fun. It was too damn hot. But
yes.
Apart from that, I think it proved that Nashville needs
more of that.
Yeah, some sort of
well, I think the Underdog, for all the people out there that don't live in town, I think they see a lot of like RJ stuff, and Corey Congilio does live streams. Obviously,
Guthrie
Trap, and all those guys. So people are kind of knowing about that place, and I think for me, doing more stuff live to show off like how the stuff sounds, in a live rig is just always a good idea.
Yeah.
Because that's, they sound, great for recording, great for at home, but like, you want to hear how it sounds out in the world.
Yeah. Once you hear it loud, really smacking you in the face, that it's a different experience. But it's something we've talked about. So yeah, leave us a comment.
That sounds
This is going to be one of those. Like,
leave us a comment.
Everything you leave a comment. I don't know if you've ever. How far down the YouTube comment rabbit hole, but there's
probably nobody should go that far down. Yeah. It gets a little crusty.
When you have a channel, you see all these things, but it's funny. The one thing that always cracks me up in YouTube is the people that comment as they're watching something, and so they'll just be like you'll have a person that'll leave 10 comments.
Yes.
Because every time there's something to comment on,
they will comment.
They leave it doesn't condense into one. It's just this long.
No. So
but anyway, it's very funny.
I love it. Please going through. All right, let's go to a question for both of us.
I know which one you're going to ask.
What is your go-to Taco Bell order, Zach?
Yes. Typically, I think we get we have one shared love of an item. I get the cheesy gordita crunch combo.
The greatest fast food item of all time.
When it's right, it hits so hard
It's heaven in a bite.
because it has the puffy gordita,
So
the
good.
cheese and the crunchy.
And the crunch.
Man,
It's so good. It's real
What
cheese
time
too. Are we gonna do? I didn't bring my lunch today.
but I get that, and then the crunchy tacos. I ditch the lettuce because
Lettuce gives you explosive diarrhea, right? It's not
Yes.
the Taco Bell. It's the lettuce from Taco Bell.
I swear, every
I know,
time
I know.
lettuce hits me, there's just something about my system that's like, there's like an alarm that goes off in my head. It's like something green, and then I just purge. But that, and then some sort of Baja Blast, and
Yeah.
I won't feel great for the rest of the day, but I will have eaten. So
I always feel terrific, but I eat really, really poorly.
tell us
Cheesy gordita crunch for me, and then some sort of burrito.
with layers.
I like that. Though I used to get the 7-layer burrito, and they don't do it no more. So 7 whole layers. Yeah, it's a lot of layers, guacamole. But I get there's like a Chipotle grilled burrito they have now. It's got them crispy chips in it. And that was really good. It was on like the $2 menu for a long time. So I'd just get those two things. And if I'm feeling bucky, I would get a cheese quesadilla as well.
Man,
Yeah. With the intent that I'm sharing some with my wife. She usually will have a couple.
I would
bites
I
of
would
that
get
too.
all that and just eat it myself.
I did last time we went to Taco Bell. That's exactly what I ordered, and I ate all of it myself.
But here, are there any Taco Bell tricks that we can share with people? I think the greatest tip that you can do when you're ordering at Taco Bell is do it on the screen.
Yeah, don't talk to a real person.
Humans are
Human, yeah.
No,
touch
plate.
screen only. What? Humans are a plague? Do you need any sugar?
anyway. And anything that's got a soft taco or burrito like wrap, you can get it grilled, and it's free, and it just makes it better. And it's hotter.
Grilled is really good.
Yeah.
It's fresh. It feels fresh.
Yeah, it feels.
Get it grilled.
It's like you go from Taco Bell to almost Chipotle, except it's hot, which Chipotle never is. So
Chipotle cold. Cold cheese at
it's
Chipotle.
so cold. Everything's
cold at Chipotle.
I don't understand.
I haven't gone to Chipotle in a while. I'm not a huge Chipotle guy.
I like it when I can take it home and put it in the oven.
The problem with Chipotle is it's like a minimum like 1,500 calories from that place.
Have you added up what your Taco Bell meal is?
Yeah, but that's supposed to be bad for you, right? I go to Taco Bell when I hate myself, and I want it to be bad, and I want to feel disgusting. Chipotle is supposed to be what? You don't eat fast food to self-flagellate?
Flagellate?
Yeah,
I don't know that word.
Really?
What is defined flagellate?
Like self-flagellate, like you're gonna punish yourself.
Oh, like I'm flogging
Am I using
myself?
that word incorrectly?
I don't know.
If I am, please tell us in the comments. But no, it's like fast food. It's like it's like you've made the decision that you're not going to eat something good for you.
Yeah.
Like you already know that. I think Chipotle is sort of, you're kind of pretending like it's fresh and it's not as bad.
But it's not.
Which is like, it's like tortillas and cheese and it's the same, right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
It's better meat.
Yes,
but it's still
it is
cold.
Yes, it's higher quality, but it's still like, you're not making a healthy decision.
Anyway. We're 30 minutes in.
It's fine.
10 minutes of that
it's
was
fine.
that.
It's fine.
All
right, what do we
already
got
did
here?
that, so
We
we
did
can't do
that
that.
Let's do this one. That was a good one last time we did this, and maybe the question will go. Why do we guitar players seem to push back on innovation? I.e., yes, it says Strindberg. I wrote this, all right? It says Strindberg. You know what I meant. Strindberg versus... So why do guitar players push back on innovation? Why are we stuck in 1954 still?
Because humans are a plague. No.
Did you not get my sugar joke? Did you know what I
No,
meant?
that's from Men in Black.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everybody got that joke, right? Because I really liked it, but you didn't really react.
I'm sorry.
And I felt a little bit like, man, he gets Men in Black. He's going to get that joke. But it's fine. I'm just
love
really,
Men in Black.
really insecure. So,
It's all good. No, I got it.
all right. So why do we guitar players seem to push back on innovation? Why are we still playing Gibsons and Fenders? Why are we not playing Parker Flies and Strandbergs? Go.
Right. Because our guitar heroes did not play those guitars. That's it. That's the whole reason.
And it's a perpetual motion machine. It just has never ended.
Yeah.
Right?
They announced this week that the guy from Greta Van Fleet, which is like, talk about a throwback band.
They are. Yeah.
He's getting a Siggy Epiphone.
There you go.
Which, I mean, like, good for him and good for Gibson and Epiphone. That's great. I actually am liking Greta Van Fleet more since their first album, or the first album that came into my, like, zone of consciousness. Wasn't a huge fan of. I didn't think it was bad, but just like that's not for me. But I feel like they're kind of pushing themselves away.
I feel like they're going more
doing.
like forest, like horses fantasy than like cool blues guys. Like it feels like they're kind of pushing themselves more into that like Lord of the Rings stuff.
But that's what Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, they were like that, but you had both sides of it. You had like cool bluesy, like we're gonna just rework Willie Dixon songs to Lord of the Rings lyrics, like Battle of Evermore. So they did both, but I feel like they're kind of choosing their side and not they're not trying to do like the super like 10-minute blues breakdown. Like they're not doing that side of Zeppelin. They're doing more of the high fantasy.
I will admit that I do think that they have really good riffs. But anyway,
I could be wrong. Say so in the comments.
I think that the reason that these Fenders and Gibson will forever be the penultimate brands of guitars is just because that's what our heroes played,
and then that's what we play,
and
that's what our heroes play,
because we want to look cool.
Well, I've said that so many times in the show, but that's it. Yeah. Like, do you feel as cool holding a Gibson Les Paul or you're holding a Parker Fly? No offense to Parker, but it's not close.
Well,
you will look cooler holding a Gibson, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I think Parker Flies are pretty cool, though.
I mean, I think they're cool.
I do think that they're pretty cool. And all it would take was just one person that wrote amazing music and looked really cool to play that, and then it would be cool. Like, think about like who are the artists out there that are famous and they played weirder guitars and everybody was cool with it. Like, who is out there that
I think currently there's Tosin Abasi.
Okay.
And he's probably the most extreme of that, definition.
But I think you can get away with that in prog a lot more than you could in if you're doing classic rock and blues.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem, I think, is that what we're talking about is like when you're in that category versus, you're Alan Holdsworth or something, what I mean? Where you can go and it's about musicianship. It's about musicianship and it's about, the technicals and the tones, and people are going to overlook that versus the stage act and the vibes being part of the whole package.
Yeah. And
that is a big difference, I think.
And I think that's part of what a lot of people have a problem with PRS guitars is because despite their long history,
it still looks different.
It looks different. And despite the fact that arguably they make guitars that play superior and
arguably,
and I would be willing to say now sound superior.
Everybody got that?
To their contemporaries. That they'll never escape that. Because there's something about people wanting to put on a Strat and look like Jimi Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan or a Les Paul, and they want to be Jimmy
Thus
Page.
Why the Silver Sky looks the way it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you could still have to go, oh, he's got a Silver Sky.
But
like you do a second take when you see it because you think at first you think, oh, it's a Strat, and then you go, oh, cool, it's a Silver Sky.
Yeah. And I think that has definitely helped them bridge the gap to.
But I know what you're saying. There's it's just such a different energy to it that people can't get over that. But one thing I want to focus on is the innovation part of it.
Right, yeah.
Which I think is really interesting. And what we're kind of talking about here is if you make a guitar like a Strandberg or a Strindberg, like I wrote, or a Parker Fly, or any other kind of guitar that has some sort of superior functionality, that we're using a guitar that has inferior technology because we think it's cool, or does it work perfectly fine and the innovation is so incremental that it doesn't necessarily matter that much? Or are we blowing it because we should be using that stuff because the tone will be better and the playability will be better and the tuning will be better, but we're stuck in the past because we want to look like Buddy Holly?
Okay, so you touched on something that I think is really important in this entire conversation, and that is tuning.
Yes. Because
with the way music production is these days, singers, everything is in such perfect tune that guitar, which will never, a normal traditional guitar will never be in perfect tune, despite.
And we know this.
We know this
because we use rap overs that aren't even
not even intonated,
and we're like, rock and roll, baby.
But one of the things that Strandberg and other companies who do multi-scale fan fret and also true temperament frets have really done is they've perfected. I mean, maybe not completely perfective, but they've drastically improved tuning on a guitar to the point where when you play those guitars, it sounds wrong because you don't hear all those weird dissonant things that happen on a normal guitar when you play a chord. It's just perfect, like you're playing a piano.
And that's weird.
It is very weird, but I think people who, and maybe they're I mean, obviously Strandberg is selling a bunch of guitars.
Yes.
Who are buying them, I'm not entirely sure, but I think if you are someone who does a lot of stuff in the studio, where, let's be honest, vibe and appearance doesn't matter.
Yeah, you just need to nail it.
You need to nail it, and those guitars, they just nail it. They're very unique in their own tone.
Yeah.
But the innovation part of that guitar is the fact that it is perfectly in tune.
And then my counter argument with that would be like, if that's not necessary with the style of music that you're playing, you're going for vibes, and you're not going to be auto tuning anything, and it's just going to be live music cut to tape, then it's fine. And I think there's still a romanticism when it comes to that.
But how many people are actually doing that?
Yes.
How many singers out there are not nudging? Oh, that was it was good except for that last.
I don't know.
Fix the pitch.
I don't know.
But like just having recorded stuff at home.
Yeah.
Even with Morgan,
it's hard not to do that.
A great singer, but she'll do a take and you'll go, well, why is that? Or sorry, I got distracted. I saw a thing on the screen that I'd never noticed before.
Hello. Hello.
She'll say, "Oh man, if this would be great if we could just fix that." And I'll just plug in the tuning thing in Logic and go, brrr, and it's perfect. So, but I think apart from that, the things that all these companies are doing, and Parker did it, they're fixing weight problems, playability problems, and these are things that I think. When we had that conversation with Joe Bonamassa on Dipped in Tone, he was so adamant against those style guitars because he said he couldn't play those guitars.
Yes.
And I think, no offense, Joe, but that's bullshit. I think if he sat down and actually tried, he could totally play those guitars because he is an amazing guitar player. He's not an idiot.
No.
He knows how to get around the fretboard. Yeah. So it just takes the time and a little bit of patience and the willingness to get your head out of your butt and go, okay, I'm going to try this.
And I think that like what I'm getting at with this, and I think I always think about this when it comes to innovation, is, are you sitting there and you're working on a project and it's not coming together because you don't have something that you need.
Right.
And you're sitting here and saying like, I'm trying to do this and these guitars don't work. I need something that's gonna, and if there are people that are like that because that's the style of music that they're playing and what they're trying to record versus somebody who's, no matter what, it's like, well, I'm going to take out the 54 Les Paul because that sounds the best. And that is not intonating.
No,
it is not. And like, that is kind of what I'm getting at is that, there's still just enough of that. Like, it's tied to that idea of like, we want to play the same guitars as our heroes. It's a question I always ask myself is that, did they get the sounds right? Or are we just so caught up in that's the sound of rock and roll and of our youth and everything that we still go back to it? Or is it just better? Right? It's
those guitars, like the old guitars?
The old guitars and the old recording techniques and the way it sounded and the warmth of all of those things versus sort of getting it right, sterile, perfect. Like there's always an argument. I think there's definitely styles of music where that makes sense to get it right. And then I still want to hear stuff that sounds like people, making music warts and all.
Right.
I think those are, and I think there's.
I don't think those things have to be, polar opposite. I don't think, because I think a lot of people would think, oh, if I have a Strandberg, like I can't play Led Zeppelin or ZZ Top tunes.
Yeah.
Because it's not made for that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about innovation.
Yes.
Is that it's made to push you and your creativity further because there's
more possibilities.
Yeah, because there's no barrier. There's nothing in the way. And that was the thing that I learned having played, owned a Strandberg and played a few more, is that they are fundamentally a tool. And they have a personality, they have a character, they definitely have a sound.
Yes.
But they are made for you to play them.
Yes.
And if you suck, it's just like plugging into a 100-watt or a 50-watt amp with no reverb. If you suck, it's going to be so painful.
Yeah.
And those things, I think everyone should try them.
Okay.
Like give them an honest try, because I think for me, once it clicked, I realized, oh, this is actually a tool that will make me a better musician.
So the argument that I'm making is that for the majority of people, they're going to be playing and they're not going to be thinking about it that way.
Yeah.
Where they're just going to play their guitars, they're going to hear sounds that they're used to,
Yeah.
and it's going to be comfortable, and they're not going to think, well, I need another innovative instrument in order to get this.
Right.
What you're saying is that give that to them, they'll find something they didn't know was possible, and they might create something new and interesting and wonderful.
Yes. I think.
Did we just figure it all out then?
I think so.
We just figured it. That's the pull quote right there. I think because I always think about that kind of thing, where it's like, there's that need versus want. There's like innovating because there's a space for it because people are unhappy versus saying, hey, everybody here, try this. And I think that's where guitars, it's so traditional. It gets really interesting when you're like, no, try this.
Right.
And that's how we got like the fuzz pedal.
Right.
Or there's that is an interesting kind of story when it comes to guitars. Like what music that is beloved happened because of innovation.
Right.
And because somebody tried something and it turned out awesome. Like that's a whole nother topic. I'm sure maybe Rick Beato's done a video about something like that, but that is an interesting sort of way to think about it.
Well, it's funny how guitar players think we have come around to so much innovation.
Yeah.
How many players are using digital amp rigs on their pedal board for gigging or recording or whatever? They have these pedals that they'll live and die by their PAF loaded style guitar, but then they're plugging into something with more processing power than an iPhone. There's a weird juxtaposition that goes in the guitar world about innovation, because some things are fine, other things absolutely not, and that's kind of an odd thing that I think that I've had this thing, and we can end on this, with a couple of the guys that work at some local guitar stores, and I'm not trying to name names, but
you know who you are.
They kind of begrudged my PRS when I got the Strandberg. They're like, what the fuck is that? But I said to one of them, like, hey, look, I'm just going to teach you that all guitars are fun.
Yes.
And if you can enjoy them for what they are, that's more important than how you think you look when you're standing in front of a mirror or in front of people watching you play. Because if you make music and you're happier, that's the only thing that matters.
There you go. End of discussion.
I have a question.
Oh, okay. Go.
Matthew, have you sold anything yet? And how's that amp search going?
Well, this is fun because we actually get to update this question and
Not
answer
that anyone would know.
from last week, because I bought an amp over the weekend. So
You did?
I did. So I did sell some stuff, and so I had some cash money, and I went down to the Gibson garage. My buddy James works for Gibson, and I tried out the fleet of boogie amps because I decided that that's kind of the direction I wanted to go.
You're making some tissues dance.
Let's go.
That's so
and
stupid.
I played, you've been pushing the Mark 7 on me. I had been kind of looking at the Fillmore 50, but there was an underdog contender that actually won.
Yep.
And that was the California Tweed.
Yes.
And I'm really excited about it. I've got it on order. It's going to be coming soon. And I think that, the lesson I learned about all this is that I think a lot of people, when they think about me and think about my influences, when I talked about it, we listened to last week's show, I love Metallica, but I don't necessarily play like that a lot. It's a lot of like raggedy shit that I listen to. Spoon, got some raggedy shit. Jack White, Josh Homme. I wouldn't say that Billy Gibbons is raggedy, but it's not necessarily.
He's not raggedy.
He's not. And I realized when I played some of these amps, they were so tight and so crystal clear and so pristine, it didn't sound like me at all. Like I was like, this was like not. And I played the Tweed, and I was like, instantly, I was like, this sounds like me.
It's got some sag on it.
It got some sag, and I was like, the riffs were flowing like wine. And
what the hell's coming out of your amp?
Instantly, my father, who of course, was there, and my buddy James said, "Oh, okay." Like we all kind of knew right away that I was trying the other amps out, and they sounded good, but it didn't sound. I was like trying to find my way, and then instantly there it was. Yeah. And I have a 5-watt Benson, which has a 6V6 in it, and I love that amp, and I play my Carmen, and I think it sounds good, but I think it's like it's a little work to get it to where it works for me. And then this one, I wanted something with more watts so I could play live. Thanks, Dad. And when we do those Underdog shows and I put the band together where we're just doing Judas Priest covers, it'll sound really good with a Tweed amp. So
yeah, it's like
it's my interpretation of Judas Priest.
We have that back there too if we need
but see,
little heat.
That's the idea is that, you know, I put some stuff on it. I want to do Judas Priest covers that sound like me playing them.
Okay.
Not recreating their amps. But the idea ultimately is that, like, when is it going to sound like me? And I wanted more wattage, but I really loved the multi-watt setup on that thing. So I put it at 2 watts and I cranked the master and I cranked the gain, and I was like, this is dripping. And I really enjoyed it.
Well, good.
So there you go.
I played that amp and I didn't like it. So
yeah, but it's not the way you play at all.
I mean, I like Tweed stuff.
Yeah.
But I think I've moved away from stuff that is pretty saggy.
Yeah.
And that I think that has even my it's not in here anymore.
Whoa.
The Ampeg that I got that is basically a brown panel deluxe. I took out the tube rectifier because it just sagged too much. I put in a solid state rectifier, which I know a lot of people would say.
What was that? What was that?
Boink. Oh,
wow,
that's weird.
Hey, all right. But yes, I'm still a card carrying member of SAG. So.
Screen Actors Guild.
I'm on strike right now. Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
What time?
We'll probably do one more.
I like
one
this,
or two more.
I like which question? Oh, this one. I like this question.
Oh yeah.
Best looking pedal, one that we make, and one that somebody else makes. Zach.
So, the Oracle. I think.
Bam.
I think not only because I love the way it looks, but because it kind of set the standard for what Mythos was going to look like.
Absolutely.
And I just like it. I don't know. There's a part of me that wishes it had some iconography on the face of it, some sort of image.
I like the simplicity of it. I really do.
I like all of
I'm a 1347 man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the 1347 is pretty sick.
I think that's
too.
my favorite.
We got one right here.
Yeah,
so
conveniently.
those
That's my favorite. Our exclusive with Mass Street Music in Kansas.
The coolest thing about this finish is that it is a wrinkle, sort of hammer tone blue, but then on the top, it has a iridescent top coat. It's called Kraken is the name of the powder
Release
coat.
the Kraken.
And it just looks
It looks beautiful.
I showed everyone the art, everyone was like, "Oh, okay." And then when it showed up, everyone thought,
okay."
Because that's something you were talking about with the Idris, seeing it in 2D,
and then actually seeing it.
But there's something weird. Like everything looks okay, flat. But the moment you actually get something and you see it in 3 dimensions, and then the fact that the pedal is shiny and the print is matte, it all comes together. But all the pedals that are in that this sort of
that size
orientation,
box. I love.
Really like,
I really do,
the chorus is going to be it has an aesthetic choice on it that I think is one of the coolest things. That
you were so excited when you showed that to me. You were so excited.
I'm so excited about it.
You fell back in love with the chorus at that moment.
It's just so silly.
Yeah.
But I found this thing that is it's a seemingly innocuous part. But when I put it on there and showed the guys, they were like, "Oh, neat!
Oh, that's cool."
So are we gonna open cans?
Yeah. We gotta open the cans.
A stereo.
Yeah. You ready? All right, you ready? Time to get that Liquid Death sponsorship.
Oh yeah, here we go.
We drink Liquid Death around here. I started getting it for home use as well.
Pour it on my houseplants. All the home uses I have.
Liquid Death. If anybody knows anybody over there, hook us up.
Man, I like the Armless Palmer.
Armless Palmer is terrific. I get the Severed Lime. It's a little bit more expensive, but I don't drink alcohol, so it's like
me neither.
I can buy those and feel good about that.
I always feel bad.
It's my special drink. It's
my treat to myself.
It's Daddy's special drink.
I always feel bad when people are in town like, "Hey, let's go get a drink." I'm like, I don't really want to do. I don't drink. And then I feel weird about it, but I shouldn't.
You shouldn't feel weird about it. I'll get a cocktail if I go out to a nice dinner, which is going to be a few hours.
Like, yeah.
Not
And you
Chipotle.
get like one a year.
When I go out to a fancy
Chipotle.
dinner, when I go out to a Sean Brock establishment, one of those things, because that feels a little bit part of like a palette that you're going to do that night of a lot of different flavors, and then also like I can enjoy it, and I'm going to be eating a lot, and it's going to be a long night, so I'm not going to get. I don't really like being drunk at all. So
It all hurts me.
yeah, so I just kind of just gave it up.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just didn't happen. I didn't make that decision. I just stopped.
I occasionally I think I'll have a beer, and then if I get one, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have got that.
Yeah, once in a while.
But yeah, I just don't.
Very
But anyway,
rare.
yeah, Liquid Death, Armless Palmer's.
So that's our vice.
tea.
That's our vice is spending $2 for water.
You know what? It's good.
It's terrific. I really like it.
I feel better about the tea.
Yeah.
Because I like LaCroix a lot. So like
Euro, yeah.
and one thing, okay, my only gripe. I'm fine with this having sugar in it.
You don't like that the severed lime?
I
and
wish
the
they didn't have
convicted
any
melon?
sugar. Not because they don't taste good, but because I like to brush my teeth and then watch TV late at night. And brushing my teeth deters me from having a snack.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't want to brush my teeth again.
Yeah.
But if I drink those, there's no sugar in it. I don't feel so bad. So I don't know. I can just get their bubbly water, just their sparkling.
It's good.
Hook us up.
All right. Well, what the best
the pedal
that from another manufacturer?
the Klon.
The Klon.
Well, I mean,
classic. OG Klon. Which color?
OG Klon. The
Silver?
Silver.
Yeah.
There's something about it, and if that doesn't count because it is no longer in production.
Yeah. Name a contemporary that you like.
I don't know. You go. I'll think.
I like the Meteore from Caroline, specifically the French subway or Paris subway edition that they did for Chicago Music Exchange back in the day. I remember really loving it, and then I finally got one a couple years ago, and I think it's very handsome.
I know.
I really like that one.
I know what I would pick for a new production pedal.
What?
The new Roland Boss delay pedals, like the Space Echo.
Those are really cool.
The enclosure and everything. The little plates around the foot switches. It's just like you can tell they hired or have a designer that got the assignment. They said, here's an original Space Echo.
Yeah.
We want to put it in this size box, and we want it to look cool as shit. And someone said, gotcha.
I got you, baby.
But,
Yeah.
they're Japanese. They're so smart.
You heard it here, folks.
They just get all that
Japanese are smart. Thanks, Zach.
stuff. Yeah. There's a question on here about me wanting
Oh,
the Tom
okay.
DeLonge
Yeah, let's
signature
end with
Strat.
that. Yes. Are you going to buy a Tom DeLonge signature Strat? You would have gotten it already, right? Or did you order one and not tell us?
No, I didn't buy one. I want one really bad.
What color?
Blue?
Blue.
Blue or maybe green.
Yeah.
Because that to me, because it was after after your time, Blink-182, but it was prime time for me.
Yeah, I was already a man, so I didn't really get into Blink. I was too busy listening
They're
to
probably like the same age as you or older than you.
and Limp Bizkit and System of a Down.
Well, I mean, when Enema of the State came out, I was like, oh, cool, because I was into pop punk. But then, and I enjoyed that, but I really like Dude Ranch and some of the early stuff. I like Cheshire Cat and all the stuff that's like really shitty. Like the recordings are really shitty.
That makes it great.
Have you ever listened to any of those?
No.
Oh, I should play
I've
them
never
for you.
put on a Blink-182 record ever.
Well, we'll
Not
have to
once.
listen to one, no skips. But it is. I like the fact that you can tell these are just a bunch of friends making music. But Dude Ranch is just an iconic, quintessential pop punk.
What do you
record.
think of the cosmic coincidence that we found out aliens are real the same week the Tom DeLonge signature Strat came out?
I think he knew all along, and it just it all makes sense. But I would love to have one. I just don't. It's a lot of it's not that much money.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what it is to a lot of people, but in the grand scheme of like guitars, a $1,200, $1,300 guitar is pretty normal now.
Yeah, that's a good price. Yeah.
And I just have a hard time justifying that for a single pickup guitar. And I know, that's Tom's whole shtick.
Yep.
I've seen Blink a few times, like back in the day. It was quite the show. The first time I went, I couldn't drive, so my mom took me, and she was there with me.
Yeah.
They had a huge fuck that lit up in fire, and she just laughed, which I was like, okay, my mom's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really want it, but I think I scratched the itch for the childhood dream of getting
the Kirk Hammett
guitar, which admittedly can do those pickups rip.
Yes, they do. So they can play all that stuff if you need to.
Yeah, and I don't know.
I would love to see you do some Blink covers with the Kirk Hammett guitar. That would be really fun.
I remember.
What a juxtaposition.
It's all just power chords.
And it sounds good.
It's
good
really,
tones, man.
really straightforward.
There you go.
But so let's the big push. Oh wait, no. What was the last thing we do?
The big push is the main topic. Now we got to push some. We're gonna tease something. We're gonna
the big tease. That's
the big
it.
tease. Yes, we did get a question. Can y'all actually push a pedal? I think we did a little bit today, right?
Well, I think we can push. We can push one thing that will be coming out
same day.
Same day.
Yes.
We'll have to time out. We could say it.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter. It's come out early.
It's a new exclusive for Mass Street Music.
That's right. Brian said, "Hey, we love the AU79. It's done really well. Wanted to stay with the periodic table. Germanium, is an element.
It is.
Can we do a germanium Mjolnir?"
Oh.
And I said, "Sure. What color?" And he said, "I'm thinking silver." And I said, "How about raw aluminum, just clear coated?" And so we did that. It has the oxblood print that matches the knobs. It has the germanium symbol and their atomic weight and all the stuff that I can't remember because it's been a long time since I've had a science class. But that symbol on there, and it's very sharp. There's something about the matte. It's called Casper Clear.
Looks beautiful.
It just, you look at it, and even though it's just a cleared aluminum box, it just really looks nice.
It's one where I think people, you got to get this thing in your hands.
Once you see it.
You remember you mocking it up, and I was like, it looks cool. And then once they showed up, I was like, damn, that's handsome.
It's
very handsome.
I've used that color combination before in the past, and I always loved it because I've done the same thing doing silver with that print. And it's like, it's okay, but there's something about the aluminum and just the rawness of it. But the matte, it feels soft, and it doesn't. There's no fingerprints, which is makes me so happy. But it just looks really nice. So I think it's going to be around the same price point as the Joey Landreth Mjolnir.
Okay.
I'm actually not entirely sure because it's a bit up to Mass Street to price these things.
Yep.
But it'll be on massstreetmusic.com. You can go check it out. Give them a call. Call Brian or any of the great guys there.
We did not make a ton of these.
No.
So I hope they're a hit, and we'll do it again.
Yeah. We're from moving on with all these things. They're going to be small batches, and then we are not going to commit to big numbers unless the community at large is absolutely demanding it, or we're just going to make it a normal part of the line. I think there's a misconception with a lot of initial product releases that people say, do I have to get this one, or is there going to be any more? But unless we explicitly state this is a limited or an exclusive run, then just assume
there'll be more
forever, hopefully.
Yeah.
But go check it out. I'm really happy with the look, and we used a very specific Russian diode in them. That looks really cool. But it sounds really good. Ultimately, it's
that's
right.
What's important. Yes.
It's right in the range of where a Klon diode should be, and no charge pump. So this one actually works a little better as an overdrive. I'm really, really happy with it, and all the guys have tried it, and everyone seems to agree that the Joeys were a big hit sonically.
Yes.
Even Joey said there's something different about these. I'm really happy with it because he hadn't had a chance to try one. Yeah. They're just busy and they're selling them. He's, got his pedal board that's bolted together. And he checked one out finally, and he said, this one is really good. So it's the same sort of topology, just with a different diode pair.
There you go.
Yeah.
Check it out. All right. What do you think? Should we get out of here? It's getting hot and I'm hungry.
Yeah. Let's eat something.
Yeah. Taco Bell.
Oh. All right. Bye.
Ciao.